as you can see that I have opened this website collab.research.google.com. This is a Google Collaboratory page, and this file is IPython notebook. IPython notebook is interactive Python notebook. So we will be implementing the Python code line by line, and we will be seeing the output that how it works, right? And let's check the Python version first. That by default, which is the Python version that we will be using in this coding section, and we will be understanding the basics of Python in this video in terms of variables, data types, and how does assignment operator works, all the basic things. Let's look into this now. So to check the version of Python, I have to run this command, Python hyphen version, and we have to put the exclamatory sign. Let's say that I was working with Python in command prompt. So I didn't need to put the exclamatory sign before this command to check the version. But on this Google Collaboratory platform, we have to write exclamatory sign before any command that we have to run. Okay, let's see which version is this. Shift enter. I have pressed shift enter. So this version is 3.7.10. So I will be working with the Python 3.x version only. Why? Because there is another version also, 2.x version. It may be 2.6, 2.7, but that is kind of outdated now, and we should better prepare with the Python 3.x versions. There are some advantages of using this. I will be coming to the advantage and disadvantage of Python 3.x versus Python 2.x within this code. But for now, let's continue. So after running this section, now let's write the hello world equivalent in Python. And I have written this print I love Python. So instead of I love Python, I could have written hello world. Then hello world would have been printed uh, the way we write hello world in any programming language by default, right? So just print I love Python will print I love Python in the output. Now let's play with some numbers. So generally, uh, in any other programming language, we have to declare the variable int x, and then we have to put the value equal to 1. Then printf statement is used in C programming, right? And cout command is used in C++. But in Python, we have to just write x in this interactive version. But otherwise, the way I had printed this I love Python with this print function, I could have written print and then in bracket x. So this x will be printed. So if I press shift enter in this, x value is printed as 1, right? And then if I do x equal to x plus 1, obviously it will be 2, and 2 will be printed. If I print this x value after x equal to x plus 1, then 2 is printed. Now let's see the use of variables, constants, functions, and operator using this sentence or lines in Python. So when we write these statements together, so these are this is one line, or so this x equal to 2 is one line, x equal to x plus 2 is another line, and it can also be called sentences in Python. So I have written these three sentences or lines of code, and if I run this, obviously the output will be 4, right? And within this variable is this x. Now I'm talking about these four terms. So variable is this x value, constant is my value 2, function is the print function, and operator is plus operator, right? And so this is how these four things are being used within these three lines of statements. Now what is the difference between .py and .ipython notebook? So when we are generally programming in Python, let's say you are working on a Python IDE, and you are saving the program of Python, the whole program you have written, let's say 10 lines of code, you have to save it, let's say code.py, right? But in this IPython notebook, IPython notebook is interactive Python notebook. So in this, we are running code line by line. Instead of running it whole as a whole, we are running it line by line. So this is the difference. So even in this file section, there is this download option. This code can be downloaded in two forms: .py file, which is Python extension, and .ipython notebook. So interactive Python notebook or Python script. So this code can be downloaded in two types from this Google Collaboratory, and it is useful for us, right? And then what is the difference between sequential and conditional? So when we code line by line, in Python, it is called sequential code. But if we are putting some conditions within the code, it is called conditional. And based on the true or false statement, the output will be given. Let's see. So sequential step means that we are writing the 4 lines of code one by one, x equal to 2, then print x, then x equal to x plus 2. So all these lines will be executed line by line within this section. And then when you're printing this, you can see that there will be two x printed. X equal to 2 is printed first, and then x equal to 4 is printed, right? And this is how the sequential steps are being run. And if I want to use some condition, so let's say that I have used this x equal to 5, if x less than 10, print smaller, if x greater than 20, print bigger, and then print end. So within this, x equal to 5 is the initial value given to 5. X is the variable here. And if x is less than 10, the print smaller will be executed. And if it is greater than 20, bigger will be executed, right? And so within this, there are conditions. This is the first condition, this is the second condition. Otherwise, the sequential thing is still going on. First this will be run, then this will be run, and if it is true, then this part will be running. And if this was not true, then it would not have run this if inside of the if part, and then it would have checked this condition also. And you can see the indentation is also there. Within the Python, indentation matters a lot. For this if statement, you can clearly see that this print is somewhat inside that if, right, in terms of indentation. So this print is part of this if. And if there were 10 statements aligned with the indentation of this print bigger statement, then also those 10 statements would have run for this if only, because those 10 statements were part of this if x greater than 20. So in this, what will be printed? I hope you know that in this case, smaller will be printed, and then print end. Why print end will be printed? End will be printed because end is outside their statement. It has to run, right? So smaller and end are the two outputs here. Now let's see the repeated steps. So it's not that you can just run one statement, and maybe if you need to run the same statement again and again, then you can do it by using this loop. And let's say that x equal to 5, then while x is greater than 1, print x. And x equal to x minus 2 is part of while only. Why? Because it is having the same indentation as of this print x statement. So x equal to x minus 2 will be updating the value of x. It will be reducing the value of 2 again and again, right? And then end of while. And x here is working as a iteration variable, changing every time when the loop is running. Okay, so what will be the output? uh, X equal to 5, so the condition is true, 5 will be printed. And then x equal to 3, again while will be checked. So while 3 is greater than 1, true, 3 will be printed. Then again it will be going after the deduction of 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 is greater than 1. It is false. So only 5 and 3 will be printed in this. And then end of while. So these three things will be printed here: 5, 3, and end of while. Okay. Now let's see the constants. Now what are constants? Fixed values such as numbers, characters, and strings are called constants. So when I'm writing print 321, 321 is a constant, right? 3.142 is a constant. And even this A is a single character, and still it is a constant, right? And again, my name is Sahil. So this is also a constant because you're giving a string as a constant in this. Now you can use double quotes also, and single quote also. So if I write double quotes instead of single quote here, it will also work. So what will be the output? These four constants will be printed as it is: 321, 3.142, A, and my name is Sahil. Now moving ahead to the reserved words. Now these are some reserved words. Reserved words means that you cannot use reserved words as the variable names, right? So these are some of the words which you cannot use as a variable name, like we are using x again and again in the previous sections. So you cannot write false, none, true, and, as, assert, break, class, if. These are all these are all reserved words, right? These are all keywords in a way. You must be familiar with the term keywords if you have learned C or C++ earlier. But these words are specifically reserved with some function which has been already defined within the Python. So you cannot use these as the variable names. So what are variables, and let's see that how to name the variables. So let's say that I am writing x equal to 12.2 and y equal to 14. Now how are they allocated for us in the memory? So our compiler will take some memory in the background, to which it will label x, and the value 12.2 will be given. And similarly for y, that location, that random location which is assigned, value 14 will be stored in that location, and that will be labeled y. Similarly, if I put x equal to 100 now, so at that same location 12.2 will be replaced by 100. So now x equal to 100 is there instead of 12.2, but y is unchanged, right? So these are how variables are being stored. But now how to name our variables? So let's see the rules. Must start with a letter or underscore. Must consist of letters, numbers, and underscores. Case sensitivity. So I will be showing you the examples also, but first three rules are that how to name the variable, and fourth point is that what should not be there. If you are starting the variable name with a number, it will be wrong. If you are putting a special character except this underscore, then also that is wrong. You cannot start that variable name with that. And also you cannot put a dot inside the variable name. Let's say Sahil.10, it cannot be one of the variable name. So these are the different variables that I have selected. You can see that the variable name is starting from underscore, abc small, abc9, capital A, small bc, then capital AB, then small c. So these are all different five variables. So even if ABC, ABC, ABC is being used thrice, still they are different because of case sensitivity. And all of these values will be printed one by one. So 10 to 50, one by one, all of them will be printed because all of them were five different variable names. Moving ahead now. Now mnemonics for humans. Now we know that friend can be variable, friends can also be variable. So these two different variables can be written for Python. But for a human, there is this plurality behind this thing, right? Single friend versus multiple friends. So for humans, it may differ, but for Python code, friend and friends are two just different variable names. It does not have any context stored with it. So let's say that I'm writing this code, this variable name equal to 10, the second variable name equal to 20, the third variable name equal to the product of first two, and then print. Now for Python, there is no problem. It can run this code easily and can get the answer 200. But let's say for humans, obviously for humans, it does not work. I mean, we have to even make sure that if this is same as this one, then this one is same as this one. So these things matter a lot. And then if I do the same thing using A, B, and C, it is quite easy for us. We are happy, humans are happy. But for Python, doesn't matter. For Python, this variable name versus the previous variable names are both equal. So answer will be again 200. But it is better to keep the mnemonics according to what we want. Let's say now the variable name is hours equal to 10, rate equal to 20, pay is equal to hours into rate. So the pay is equal to 200 rupees or dollars, whatever the currency is. But yeah, so obviously we are happiest when we see this kind of code because it is self-explanatory. We do not have to make sense out of A, B, and C and then understand that what is happening. So there are three methods of writing this same thing, and mnemonics help us. Mnemonics means that these kind of names, hours, rate, so all these things will be very helpful for us when we are doing the coding. Even for someone who is reviewing the code later on, this third section will be the easiest thing to review, right? Now moving on to assignment statements. Now an assignment statement means that it consists of an expression on the right hand side and a variable on the left hand side to store the result of the expression. So whatever is being calculated on the right hand side, it is stored on the left hand side, right? So let's see example. Now I'm just doing this thing that I'm printing the current value of x, then printing the rate and hours. So rate and hours is taken from the previous section, and then x is also, I want to take the updated value, whatever the x value is. Now in this case, x is on the left hand side also and the right hand side also. Now the assignment operator works in a way that it calculates the right hand side first. So the previous value of x will be used in right hand side in the right hand side, and the updated value will be kept in the left hand side, and the printing of x will be done of the left hand side, the latest value that has been calculated. Let's see what is the output. So if x was 1, rate and hours were 20 and 10. So the final value of x after calculation will be 31.419999. Moving ahead, operators. So operators, there are different types of operators, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, power, remainder. So these things matter. I mean, it depends that how you want to do the uh, calculation. And let's see that how it works. Now, if I do 5 star star 2, we have seen that star star is the power operator. So it means 5 raised to power 2, right? And 5 raised to power 2 means 25. So the output will be 25. And this 23 mod 5. 23 mod 5 means the remainder. So remainder will be 3, obviously. And 23 divided by 5. So in this, output will be 4.6. But if it was Python 2.7 version or Python 2.6 version, the output would have been 4. Why? Because in Python 3, automatically, while the division is being done, numbers are converted to float numbers. Otherwise, 23 was an integer, 5 was an integer, though the output would have been 4 only instead of 4.6. So in a way, Python 3 is better. Now, operator precedence rules. Now, this is the precedence rule that first the parenthesis will be the given preference, then power, then multiplication, addition, left to right will be done at the end after the addition is done. So let's see. Now you have x equal to 1 plus 2 into 3 minus 4 divided by 5 raised to power 6 and y equal to this. So according to you, what will be the output? Think about it, write on paper. Okay, so the output will be same. Why? Because we saw that the operator precedence says that the parenthesis is done at the first, and then the power, then multiplication, then addition. So the brackets have been put in a way the precedence rules were there. So the precedence rules are being followed in the y value same as for the x value. So that's why the value is same. First of all, the parenthesis will be solved. So parenthesis has this thing, and first parenthesis is this one, right? The power function is having more priority than the multiplication or division, right? So 5 raised per 6, 4 divided by 5 raised per 6. Then after this 2 into 3. Then in the end, addition or subtraction, and left to right will be done. So whatever the answer is same. Then let's see the types of variables. So 5 plus 2. So these are two integers. These are being summed up, and the output will be 7, obviously, right? And if I do Sahil plus Sharma, it will be again, the Python knows that it is now string. Two strings have to be added in a way. So when we say that two strings are being added, it means that they are being concatenated. And be careful about this space here. So I have intentionally left it here because Sahil Sharma should have the space within it. Okay. So similarly, you can do that. And now if I write Sahil plus 5, okay. Now if I write Sahil plus 5, then what will be the output? Any ideas? There will be error. Why? Because string plus number cannot be done. And that's what it is being written here. Can only concatenate string to string, not integer, right? So if I comment it, now the type of Sahil is string, type of 5 is integer, right? Whatever was being told, it was true. So now if I want to add this 5, I have to convert it into string first. It can be done like this. You can put it in quotes, and then you can add it with the word Sahil. So Sahil 5 will be printed. So this Sahil 5 is being printed because now this is being treated as strings. These two things have been concatenated. Now what is the type of 5.0? Type of 5.0 is float. Why? Because the point is there. Now this fraction part is there, right? Zero point 0, zero point 1, zero point 0.2. So when these things come up in the code, it means that it is floating number now. It's not just integer. Now let's do the type conversion. If I write float 99 plus 100, what will be the output? Think. So those of you who are writing 199.0, they are correct. Otherwise, if you're writing just 199, it is wrong. Why? Because when you are doing float 99, you're converting this 99, which is integer, into float. And then because Python 3 is having this thing that it converts implicitly, so when 100 is being added, 99.0 is being added to 100, which makes it 199.0 instead of just 199, right? And now let's try this one. A equal to 10, print type A. What is the type of A? Type of A should be integer. Then B equal to float of A. Now we are converting the integer 10 into float. It will be 10.0, right? So printing B will get us 10.0. So this is integer. This is 10.0. Now printing the type of B is float. Let's see the outputs. Yes. So the class int is being printed. 10.0 is the output for B. This is class float when we print the type of B. Now, if I do the integer division, print 9 by 2, what will be the output? Any guesses? It will be 4.5, right? Because Python 3 has this feature that it can handle the points. It can handle this fraction value which is being left, which was not being kept in Python 2.x. So if I write this print 99 by 100 in Python 2.x, it would have been 0. Why? Because the fraction part was not being kept. But in this, it will be 0.99, 0.99, right? So the output matters according to the Python versions also. You have to keep this in mind. So when we are writing this print 99 by 2, it will be 4.5. If I'm writing print 99 by 100, it is 0.99. Now let's do string conversions. String is equal to 321. And now I want to do string plus 1, right? So string plus 1 means print string plus 1. Just imagine that if you're working in a Python IDE, you have to write print statement, and within the function you have to put string plus 1. But in the in this IPython notebook, you can directly write string plus 1 and the operation will be done. So what will be the output? String plus 1. It will be error. Why? Because you can only concatenate string with string. Now 321 is a string here. It is not a number. And you are adding 1 to it, which is integer. It cannot be done. How can this be corrected? How can this be corrected? I have to convert string into integer first. Int string, type conversion, right? Plus 1. So the output will be 322. Now again, string equal to Sahil. Now print the integer version of string. What will be the output? Now because string is only string, it is not having an integer with base 10. So it is written here. So Sahil is a string and it is not an integer. That's why it cannot be converted into integer. So because it has to have some number in it, then only you can convert it into integer, the way we did it for 321. Strings cannot be converted into integers. This is the lesson here. Okay, I'm commenting it just to make the code clean. Now another thing is that we can also do the user input thing. Now just by writing this input function, name equal to input, who are you. So what is being done? Who are you will be printed for you, and it will wait. The compiler will wait for us to give the input. Whatever the input will be there, whatever the input will be there, accordingly the name will be printed in this. Welcome Sahil will be printed if I give the input as Sahil. Let me press shift enter. Now if I write Sahil here and press enter, welcome Sahil is being printed, right? It was waiting for me to enter the name. Now let's discuss about the commenting. So comments within the Python, you can do the commenting also. As the when you're working in the code section. If you're writing as a text, so like this is a text section for me. I can directly write it even without this thing. Without this thing, the size will be small for comments in Python, and if I write hash with it, the size will be more for comments in Python. But yes, so this is a code section, right? Within the code section, if you want to write the comments, you have to use this hash. This is a comment in a code block. Multiple line comments are not supported by Python. So if you know that, if you have worked in C++ programming, so there is this multiple line comments with this thing. You can just write this and then this, and within this, whatever you write, maybe 30 lines are there, and then you close this thing. There are multiple comments, and those 30 lines will be considered as the comments. But within the Python, you have to every time comment a line. You cannot do multiple line comments here. Okay, and now why do we need commenting? Because of these three reasons. Describe what is going on within the code. You can write the comments to describe the code, right? Then the documentation is also helpful for writing the theoretical stuff. And then turn off a line of the code temporarily. Let's say that you're doing some debugging of the code. Maybe you can add a print statement and then write the comment version for it. And even you have seen that I have done some commenting before whenever the error was coming. So it is turning off the line. Now let's finish it off by making a program to convert Fahrenheit temperature into Celsius. So how to make this program? I will be taking some user input also. I will be using the formula. So the formula will be 5 by 9 into Fahrenheit minus 32. So within this code, I have written this: enter the temperature as Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is equal to input. What is the Fahrenheit temperature? And when the input will be given, accordingly, the Celsius conversion will be done. The value will be printed as it is. So let's see, if I run this code, what happens. It is asking that what is the Fahrenheit temperature. Let's say 98.6, which is normal human temperature. So the equivalent Celsius temperature is 37 Celsius, right?